Hello. Okay, I want to make sure everything is working. So when you see me and you can hear me, please let me know. By letting me know in the comments.
Hear me.
Okay,
Please,
I
please,
can see
please.
myself on my phone. So if you're watching a replay, please put hashtag replay. But y'all, I'm gonna get started because I want to be respectful of your time. And even if you don't, get down with this holiday, I'm sure you still want your time back. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring up my slides. You can still see me. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. And I am going to be talking about the 10 tips of finishing your dissertation. But before I get there, I'm asking you, let me know what is keeping you from finishing your dissertation. You don't have to tell me all your business, but just tell me something. Give me at least one word as to why you haven't finished yet. And this isn't about throwing any shade, it's just helpful. One, for everyone to know, like, you're not alone. Most likely, someone else has your reason. And then number two, it gives me a better idea of how to steer the conversation to make sure that I am helping you as much as possible. Because for me, my goal is for you to leave this conversation and you feel like, listen, I need to go put in some work now. Like, I could do one thing now. I feel like if you leave like feeling that way, then I did my job. I did what I was supposed to do. All right. So let me know in the chat and I will keep this rolling. So before we get off into the tips, here's the thing. This is not about quitting. And if you are paying attention to the news, which part of me hopes you are, part of me hopes you're not, because a lot is going on. But either way, whether it's in your world, the outer world, the combination, this is not the time to quit. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking about, I should just quit. I should just be done with this. What is the point? And what I want you to know is that there are too many people who are counting on you to finish. There are people who are counting on you to show up, even if you don't know who they are, even if they haven't came up to you and said anything, they are counting on you. There are people who are waiting for you. They are waiting on your research. They are waiting on you to win and cross that finish line because when you do it, it gives them hope that they can do it. When they see your research show up, whether in the form of dissertation, publications, presentations, community work, whatever that looks like, you give them hope, you give them answers, you give them encouragement to keep going. And so, my point with this and starting off this way is to let you know that you're not in this by yourself and you're not doing it just for you. You're doing it for so many people that you won't even know. You are touching people's lives that you have no idea. And you probably won't find out for another 5, 10, 30 years when they come up to you and they say, because of you, I was able to do blank. And so you have no idea what your words, your actions, your courage to like decide to keep going is what that is doing for people, for the world. So please keep going. So here are the 10 tips. You want to take a screenshot, you can go ahead. I'm going to go through these one by one, but I at least want to have one slide where you knew here are the 10 things. And this is something I talk about in the Finish Your Dissertation program all the time, but I don't think I necessarily had it in one place. And so this will be the video that I will tell everyone, including current clients, to come back to whenever you need a push, you need a bit of to keep you going. Here are the 10 things that you need to remember. Decide to finish, plan to finish, write to finish, find 6 hours for writing, do C minus work, stop judging your writing, give feedback early and often, do your job, let your community do their job, stop going at it alone. And then number 10, which is my favorite, decide who you will be, not only in this process, but after this process. And so if you are just coming in, please say a good hello and thank you, Kalia. Overthinking is still something that I do to this day. I was even overthinking this presentation, like full truth moment, full transparency, y'all. Like I have written this thing probably 2 or 3 times, probably more of that in my head, but I am a writer and I went through at least 2 or 3 drafts because I overthink. But it's only because, right? And I'm sure y'all can relate, you want the final product to be amazing. But listen, y'all, at some point you're just gonna have to decide it is amazing. You're gonna have to move forward. That's what I had to do to show up with y'all today because I there was a voice that was like, you don't have to do it, you can cancel it. But for what? Y'all are waiting on me. I just gave you that whole speech. People are waiting on you. Y'all were waiting on me, literally and figuratively. And so I want to show up to be an example of, yeah, you could do things when you feel like it's not perfect and you feel like it could be better, but we're going to keep it moving. Okay, y'all. And Gabby, I know you love number 4, 6 hours of writing. That's it, y'all. I promise you when we get there, because some of you are looking at the screen side eye, but trust me, we're going to get there. Okay, so number 1, you have to decide to finish. You have to think back, like, or think now, why are you doing this? Because the reasons that you had for when you applied to your program, you enrolled, even when you were going through coursework, the reasons that we're getting you through then are not. I'm 10 toes down confident that it is not the same reason why you keep going, because you know more things now. You've learned a little bit more about how the world works in terms of whether you were doing it for a job, whether you were doing it because you're like, I just want to be doctor. I want to do this. I want respect. You probably have a little bit more understanding that the things that you want really, and let me tell you, if you don't know, you can have them right now, even without the letters. If you want to have a business, if you want to have that dream job, because there's plenty of you. If it's not a faculty related position, I'm guaranteeing that you know someone who does not have a terminal degree and they hold that job. So if they could do it, friend, you could do it. And so what is important at this stage is that you figure out, why am I doing this? And listen, we're not trying to go for like some very like golden, it sounds good, reason. I want the real reason. Why are you doing this? Is it because you want to stunt? Is it because you want the letters? Is it because you want people to call you doctor? Those are perfectly good reasons, right? Is it because you want to be somebody's faculty member? Is it because you want to dedicate your life to research and expanding knowledge? That's good to know. Is it because, like, for real, there is a job and you do have to have the letters? Okay, but it's good to know what that clarity is. And for a lot of you, we're going to be real about it. Your reason is because, well, I've already put this much work and time into it. I'm going to finish no matter if I don't plan to use it at all. And that is real. And the reason why you want to know what your reason is, because that determines how you show up in this dissertation process. It determines the type of, oh, y'all can't even see my slides. Can y'all see the slides? Okay, you can. It determines the type of dissertation you're going to write, right? Because if you're just finishing because you just want to be done, then friend, we're not sitting up here going over every letter. We're not sitting up here trying to make sure we got all these things and make it this most award-winning dissertation. No, why would we do that? Why would we do that? You don't want that. You just want to be done. So remember, what is your why, and respond accordingly. And I just want to make sure I don't have a slide. Yes. So here's the thing, y'all. The end of my first year, I found myself at academic probation. I had never struggled academically. I had never had a problem. And many of you are probably sitting around being like, I got this far. Clearly, I'm smart. At least that's what people told me my whole life. But for whatever reason, you probably didn't get a real significant academic challenge until you got into your doctoral program. And something I want you to think about is it the material you're learning, or is it the people? Because at this point, when I was sitting on academic probation and I got this letter from the graduate school, I was like, well, clearly I'm not as smart as I thought I was, because how did I get a GPA? But what I had to sit down after a lot of, some libations, I'm not gonna put my business out there, but after some libations, I had to sit down and be like, this isn't about the work. I know this work. I got a whole master's degree in this. I know this. It's not the courses are not the thing. It's the people. It's the environment. And I'm questioning, do I fit in? Do I belong? And what started out as, I just love school and I just want to go as far as possible because that was my reason, I had to change and find a new reason. I had to be like, well, why am I doing this? What's the point? And the reason became, one, I said, I'm going to do this because I said I would. And then two, it was like, I got something to say. And I know that I'm meant to do way more than what's happening right now. And some little funky academic program is not about to take me out. So when I came back, this would have been my fall. This wasn't the end. This was the fall semester of my first year. That second spring semester, straight A's. And it's not even about the grades, but my attitude was different. The way I showed up was different. Is because I made a different decision on a different why. And I'm asking you, what is your why? My why was, I got something to do. I got something to say. And for whatever reason, it landed me here. So I'm going to keep going. What's your reason? Why are you going to keep going? So, number 2, I believe, plan to finish. A lot of y'all think y'all are good planners, and y'all are not. A lot of you, what you do is like you sit down, you get a piece of notebook paper and you write out long to-dos. And then you try to like beat the clock by trying to do all the to-dos. And you get to the end of the week burnt out and tired and over it and frustrated. You're running in circles because you don't have a very clear like intention of why are you doing all the shit? Like why do you have all those to-dos on your list to begin with? And if you're real honest with yourself, 80-90% of that is for other people. It's for other people's dreams. It's for other people's wallets. It's for other people's goals and what they want. Most of it, and I'm probably, if we for real being real, probably all of it has nothing to do with what you want, your goals, your dreams, your wallet. And so instead, I want to invite you to think about planning as start with you. What do I want? And if right now it's like, I want to finish this dissertation, all right, I'm going to start with, okay, what is going to help me finish a dissertation? And I want you to think in terms of results, not things that I'm going to do, but results. Like, what am I going to produce at the end of this week? What will you have to show after you do the things that we're going to talk about in a minute? What will you have to show? How will it move you further or closer to getting what it is that you want, not for other people? So I encourage clients to do what is called the weekly top three. These are 3 priority tasks. How are you going to spend the next 7 days? And each of these tasks will take 2 hours or less to complete. It could be like a page of words. It could be I'm going to schedule a meeting with my advisor. It could be I'm going to read 3 articles. Right? I'm going to pick up some books. I'm going to edit my theoretical framework. I want you to think in terms of what are 3 tasks. That's it. We just need 3. It takes 2 hours or less. And you want to think about what would I have produced by the end of that, right? So if I'm saying I'm going to write 1 page of words, it's very clear. By the end of my 2-hour session, I'm going to have a page of words. Or by the end of my 2-hour session, I'm going to have a completely edited theoretical framework. It don't have to be perfect, but I responded to all track changes. Or by the end of this 2-hour period, I would have scheduled a meeting with my advisor. What is it that you're going to produce? Stop thinking just of what you could do, because there's a lot of things you can do. Even when you're done and you have successfully defended your dissertation and everybody's calling you doctor, you're still going to have things you could do. But it's like, should you do them? What is it leading towards? Think about your planning in that way and make sure you start with yourself first, and everybody else can wait. Give yourself your good time and energy. Start your week off with you. I know that people are like blowing up your emails and your text messages and all of that, but that's what they want. What do you want? So start with that. And then number 3, write to finish. So now that you are clear on why you're doing this and you're clear on how to plan, now I want you to actually put words on the page. And somebody asked me, like, how do you do that? They don't like my whole like free write. Okay, so I want to give you a little bit more structure. If you have 2 hours, because I don't think you should be writing for longer than 2 hours. There's a whole other conversation in a minute. But if you have 2 hours, spend the first 30 minutes reading. You want to give yourself a cutoff, because a lot of you like to read, and then it don't go anywhere. It don't go anywhere. So 30 minutes of reading. 45 minutes of writing immediately after you're done reading. This is not about going to the article and being like, so-and-so said this, let me write that. No, I want you to take out an empty sheet of paper and just write. And then cut yourself off at 45 minutes and then spend the remaining time editing, because editing takes longer than you think it does. And I want you to remember this key rule. Every activity is a separate activity. We don't need to be trying to rewrite and edit all at the same time. That's quickest way to burn yourself out. They are all separate, because what y'all are doing is reading page and article after article, trying to write 1 sentence. But in the middle of writing that 1 sentence, you're trying to edit it because it don't sound right. And what you got at the end of a 2, 3, 5-hour session is a half-written sentence and frustration. But when you treat each of these separately, you let your brain get into full like beast mode. Like, if I'm reading, I'm reading. We're not going to focus on notes, just read. Because immediately after you're done reading, then the notes that your brain has been compiling, you can put it on paper. Now you got words on the page, and we cannot edit something that does not exist. So if words are on the page, now you have the remaining time to edit. And if you want bonus points, then I say at the end of this 2-hour period, turn it into someone. get eyes on this for people to give you feedback. So I told you about me being on academic probation. I told you I came in, and I wish that energy kept up after that first year of being like, I got something to say, but it didn't, y'all, because the people, the culture still was getting to me. I still went another 2 years feeling like, I don't know if I should do this because I don't relate to none of these people. I'm in a different part of the country than I grew up in. I don't relate to them. Everybody's really competitive. It seemed like everybody's speaking a different language. I don't get it. And so I just like was taking my sweet time until my chair was like, no, ma'am, absolutely not. Here's the thing. You got 2 months to give me a completed dissertation or we're done. This is what she said in so many words. Y'all. I got the email. She would say, that's not what she said, but I got receipts. That's how I took it nonetheless. And so I was like, how am I going to do this? I got to get IRB approval. I got to find participants. I got to do my sister circles and collect data. Then I got to analyze it. And then I still got to find the energy and time to write up the remaining chapters. How do you do that in 2 months? But like I tell y'all, you have to make a decision. Like, who are you going to be? And so I was like, listen, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but at least I know the next step. I know how to apply to IRB, and then I'll just go from there. And that's what I did. I didn't have this like very laid out plan. I had a deadline and I was like, here's the first step. And I just kept going until I was at the end. And I did that in 2 months. And for those of you who don't know, because I haven't formally introduced myself, I am Dr. Marvette Lacy, and I graduated from the College Student Affairs Administration PhD program at the University of Georgia, May 2017. Because I made a decision that if she wanted that in 2 months, she was going to get it in 2 months. Now, we spent an additional month doing some edits and going back and forth before I defend it, but I just wanted you to know that what's possible. I'm not saying you need to do this. I'm saying and I'm showing like I've been where you are. I've been questioning like, why would this even matter? I couldn't get words on the page 8 months before this, but I did that. I showed up. I gave her what she wanted. So you could do the same. So, what is one thing, because I've been talking for a little bit, what's one thing standing out to you so far from this conversation? Anything, let me know. Like any tips so far, anything that resonated, something with my story, or it's just something that's going on with your personal life that is coming up, like, or your personal experience with your dissertation. What is one thing standing out to you so far from this conversation? Let me know in the chat box. And then I'm going to keep going. Why y'all tell me that? So, our next tip is 6 hours a week, which is Gabby's favorite from earlier, right? Because I told you how to spend your 2 hour session, but I also told you to find 3 things that you're going to focus on for the week, right? And this is what I call my 3x2 writing session. You're going to pick 3 days in a week period, in a 7-day period, you're going to pick 3 days. Each of those 3 days, you're going to pick 2 hours. And those are going to be dedicated to the writing, which is the system I just showed you. This is your new writing schedule. What a lot of people do, or what I see a lot of students do, is they will say like, oh, I got some time on Wednesday morning. I got some time Saturday morning. I'll just use that for my writing. But then Wednesday morning comes and Saturday morning comes and they're like, I just don't feel like it, or so-and-so needs to talk to me, or I got to, finish up this last thing for work. And it's because you were not intentional with your time. You did not clearly say, this is when I'm going to show up. This is what I'm going to focus on. And this is how I'm going to focus on it. Right. What I just gave you so far, you can cut this off right now and you would be good to go. If you were someone who was going to show up and do what I just said for the first 4 or 5 tips, friend, you're good to go. But if it was just that simple, y'all, I wouldn't have additional tips and we wouldn't be here talking. But I do want you to know that so many people have gotten so far on what I just shared so far. Okay. The next thing I want you to do, and what we're going to aim for, and I know all my high achievers have a very hard time with this one, C- work. The reason why I was able to do all of that in 2 months is because I was like, this ain't about A work. And as somebody who's already been on academic probation, like I already know what the bottom feels like. And so I know this is not true in grad school, but I want you to go back to like K through 12. C minuses, they get diplomas, they get high school diplomas, y'all. That's passing. And so I want you to approach your dissertation with the goal of getting a C minus, right? Y'all have all heard the whole thing about a good dissertation is a done dissertation. How do you think it gets done? Stop trying to write an award winning dissertation. And if you are someone who is at the proposal phase and you're looking at completed dissertations, being like, how did their chapters get so long? How did they get so many citations? How were they able to be so clear about what it is they wanted to do? It's because number one, you're at the beginning looking at someone who's at the end. And number two, they had to first put words on the page. And then somebody came along, which is number three, and gave them feedback. And they responded to that feedback. And number four, they went through many rounds of editing. And to get the finished product that you have in your hands that you're reading, stop comparing someone's end to your beginning. You have to put words on the page first. And that means you're going to have to aim for C minus work, because we all know intellectually that editing has to happen. But for whatever reason, when you go to sit down, you think, if this doesn't come out perfectly the first time, then I must be doing something wrong. There must be something wrong with me. I must not be a good writing. And none of that shit is true. The only thing that is happening is you just got a little bit something like twisted up, that you think that you're supposed to have a finished product. No, you're just supposed to have a C minus project. You're just supposed to put words on the page, and then you can edit your heart away. You can move things around. You can format. You can pay an editor. You can give it to 50 million people if you wanted to. But you first have to put words on the page. Do good enough. So I want to talk to you about Dr. Gina Wilkerson. And everyone that I'm going to mention, if you want to hear their whole story, and go to the Office Hours of Dr. Lacy podcast. And I put their episodes up for you to see. Hers is 143. So when I met Gina in April 2020, she was just about to apply for an extension because her original time clock had ran out. And she was talking to me, being like, man, I just want to be able to get an extension and finish my proposal before the year is over. And I said, forget a proposal. What if you finish the entire dissertation before the year was over? Of course, she was like, no, I gotta go get my husband now. I don't understand what you're saying. Like, I don't get these words. But I just shared with her what I just got done sharing with you. And y'all, she was a whole ass doctor before December 2020 was over. And it's not because she has something special that you don't have. It's just because she was willing to be like, all right, I'm gonna just show up and see what I can do. And as someone with a very demanding job, she works in the school system as an educational psychologist. She didn't necessarily have a lot of time. And so we just worked in 20-minute chunks, an hour before going to work, or maybe an hour during her planning session. And that was how she got to the end. It wasn't about being perfect. It was just about putting words on a page and giving them to her advisor for feedback. She did that all the way until December, until becoming doctor. So before we go there, here's what I want to do. All right. So I asked what was sticking out to y'all. Gabby, you said planning is key. I need to continue to do it even though I'm waiting on my data. Absolutely, Gabby, because what I know about you is, right, you want to start a business. Your research will directly be the theoretical and like the foundations of your business, but you already know what to do in practice. You can start doing that. Hi, Alicia, the weekly top 30 is my favorite, even when I am trying to figure out what to do in my regular life, or like if depression and anxiety is hitting me real hard, I'm still like, what's my top three? Is it I'm a shower 5 days out of 7? Is it I'm gonna go outside at least one of these days out of 7? Is it like I'm gonna call somebody and I'm not gonna go 7 days without talking to someone? Because sometimes it has to apply to like those things. Sometimes anxiety and depression is so real that I just gotta do that. Other times though, it looks different. It looks more like business related or writing related, depending on what I'm doing. But the top three has saved me so much. Kalia said, planning you first. Yeah, people teach us to put first. That's the issue. And no, I'm not over here advocating that you don't, it's not like you don't ever do anything for people or you're not generous, right? Or considerate. And what I know about all of us right now in this conversation and those even watching the replay is that most likely because of different identities, how we look, where we come from, how we've been socialized. We have been always told to be looking at what is everyone else doing and make sure that you pay attention to them first. You meet their needs first, right? Because something about us is inherently wrong. Like that's not what explicitly is being said, but that is the message being communicated. And so we go through life like putting everybody else's needs and wants first so that we can like, I don't know, like go under the radar or whatever. Survive really is at the core of it. But then that just ends up going into people pleasing and going into, you look up at you're 50, 60, and you have a whole lifetime of putting everybody else's needs and wants ahead of your own. And now when your health is failing you or something is coming up and you need that, there's no one around. And it's not because people are trying to intentionally be, what is it, like selfish or inconsiderate. It's just that you have 50, 60 years of teaching them that you don't matter, that you don't come first, that their needs come first. Right. I want y'all to think about this. I know this is not the purpose of this conversation. Most people are not trying to be malicious. Most people are just going with what has always been done. And if, right, I think about me, like, I'm like, if I don't speak up, if I don't say what I need, or if I don't ask for help, or if I don't put down boundaries or make decisions, very clear, intentional decisions about who I'm spending my time with and who I'm giving to, then yeah, I'm gonna look up and there's gonna be people who are just taking and taking because that's what I taught them to do. And yeah, we can have a conversation about they should be better, but I also have a responsibility of who did I actively decide to give my time and energy to. So that was all the way left, but I just hope that blessed somebody's spirit. Um, yeah, comparing your proposal to somebody's completed dissertation will take you all the way out. It is a quick way for you to just not want to continue because you're looking at something that is very polished and you have no idea how many hands that draft went through. You have no idea, like, because a lot of people too have additional time even after they submit it to the graduate school or their committees. Some people have time to do some more polishing and get it edited before they submit it to ProQuest or for people to be able to review it. So something to think about. And I'm just trying to see. All right, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna end my tangent, but that was just in my heart. Put yourself first. Okay, stop judging. Here's the thing: your job is to put words on a page. Your job is not to judge your words that you put on the page. I'll say it again. Your job is to put words on the page. Your job is not to judge the words that you put on the page. Procrastination and perfectionism happens because you are trying to be both the student and the teacher. You're trying to be your advisor in your committee and the student who is supposed to be learning the research process. Your job is trying to put words on the page. It's not to judge your writing. It is not for you to say if it's good enough. It is not for you to say if this will pass. It is not for you to be like, oh, I'm missing this, I'm missing that. That's not your job. Because 9 times out of 10, when you're trying to do that job, you're doing way more than the people whose job it actually is, are like what they are even expecting of you. They're not expecting of you to do all these things that you think. You have a different idea in your brain. And I'm not trying to come at you. I hope that this is coming off as more as like give you permission to like do C minus work, to stop judging your writing and to only focus on putting words on the page. Which I'll come back to in a minute. You want to get feedback early and often, right? Because when I say it's not your job to like decide if your writing is good enough, it's not, but it's also your writing. Listen to me. I want to come in the camera. Let me put my face back in the camera. Your writing, the words you put on a page, your dissertation topic, how far you are in the program, how long you've been in the program, who your advisor is. None of that has anything to do with you or your worth as a person. You are worthy just because you're living, because you're breathing, because you're a person. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of respect. Your writing, your dissertation has nothing to do with that. I wanted to say that because a lot of you are really afraid to turn in your writing because you think like, because if my writing is bad, then I am bad. They don't have anything to do with it. You are amazing. You are loved. You are cherished. And even if no one has told you that, you haven't heard those words in a long time, listen, I believe that. I know that in my bones. Your writing has nothing to do with that. You are worthy just because of who you are, because you were in the world. Okay, let me get back and stop getting sidetracked. Feedback, the purpose of feedback is to let you know your next steps, right? Remember when I said, I don't know how I'm going to do this in 2 months. All I know is I just got to submit for IRB. And then IRB is going to give me feedback. And then I'll know what my next steps are. In the same way, you just got to put words on the page. If you are at the proposal and you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing, here's a draft of the literature review. That's it. Put words on the page and give it to whomever, your advisor, your committee, whomever it is that you want to give you feedback on it. And then let them tell you, oh, these parts dope. These parts need more attention. Focus on that. And now you have your next steps. Oh, I'm going to focus on this. Feedback provides clear instruction about what your advisor cares about. Here's the thing, y'all. Your advisor, not all advisors are equal, and not all advisors care about the same thing. Like when someone becomes faculty and then they're like, here are your advisees, no one is giving them a handbook of like, and here are the things you should care about. Some advisors care about APA. They're like, I don't know, they memorize the APA manual. I don't know. I don't know why they thought that was fun. I don't get it, but whatever. They memorize it, they love it. Some advisors are like, I care about grammar and mechanics. I was an English major and that's what I care about. Some advisors are like, listen, do you have all the top like people in the field who does this research listed in your citations, right? But here's the other part that advisors, the thing about advisors, most of them are not self-aware enough to be able to tell you what the thing is that they care about. So what you're going to have to use is your feedback to figure that out. And I know they could just come out and tell you, but a lot of them, again, like I said, are not self-aware. So if you give your advisor, your chair, a piece of writing, a draft, and all they have to say are APA comments, here's the thing, friend, focus on APA. Don't focus in on authors or how much information you could show about that topic. Focus all most of your time and energy on APA. If your advisor cares about grammar and mechanics, listen, they probably are not paying too much attention to what exactly you have to say. They are paying attention to, did you follow all the like rules? So then go find you somebody at the writing center, one of your friends who also is an English major and they think it's fun to find typos in books. Go find them and ask them, right? Get you a Grammarly account. It's free. Use it. Focus your time on that. But if you never turn in anything for feedback, then you have no idea what your advisor expects of you. And listen, especially for the people who care more about APA and grammar and mechanics, they can't even read a draft if a period is out of place. And so they may tell you to keep going, and you might just think like, oh, maybe they want me to add more, when really they want you to focus on APA and mechanics. So this is going to take you having conversations with your advisor, seeing what they talk about the most, giving them draft after draft after draft to get very clear on what is it that they care about, and then giving them what they care about, not what you care about. You got to remember something, and that just should have been a tip, but the dissertation is an assignment, right? And I know people have been saying that a lot lately. When I think about the dissertation being an assignment, what I think about is, okay, what does this advisor care the most about? Because listen, they're the ones making the decision at the end of the day. The committee is there and they can give their feedback, but your advisor is the one that gives the final say so. So if they care about APA, friend, just focus on the APA. You may not give a shit about APA, but it's not about that because you're not the one signing the paper. They are the ones signing the paper. And your dissertation is just an assignment at the end of your doctoral program. People are not going to see the dissertation when you go present at a conference. They're not going to see the dissertation when you're out and about just talking to people or if you're consulting. Sure, some students are going to go look up your dissertation, but they're going to be looking it up because they want to see what citations you had or how you frame things. But the thing that's going to have the most impact is you when you show up and tell people about your research. A very small percentage of people are going to actually read the dissertation. It's just an assignment. Focus on the thing that the advisor cares about. It will save you so much of a headache. Okay, and so part B of your job is to put words on the page. And their job, like I just said, is to say if the words meet their expectations or not. And it's to direct you to meet their expectations. Stop doing their job. Let them do their job. A lot of advisors are out here, they don't have to do much. Most of them, it's the way the system is set up too, but most of them don't really care about advising because they get some credit about it on their CV, but it's not a big thing a part of if they get promoted or tenure. And so a lot of them put it to the back burner, which is why you can't ever find them or get them to respond to your emails or get them to do whatever. I want you to think about how do you help them to make their job easier. And the best way you can do that, friend, is to put words on a page and keep giving it to them and being like, hey, I sent you this. Hey, you want to be annoying. I put words on the page. Did you look at them? Did you? Okay, I'll email you again in 2 days. Because if you're getting on their nerves, guess what? They're going to respond and they're going to look at the words on the page and they're going to be very clear so you can leave them alone. Either way, your job is to put words on a page and let them do their job. Stop doing their job for them. Stop trying to spend hours and days trying to figure out, okay, so and so might say this, but so and so might like this. What did I say is the quickest way to know what to do is to give them a draft and give feedback, because then they will communicate to you what it is that they're looking for. Instead of you trying to spend your good time and energy trying to figure out what it is that they're looking for, just give them the manuscript or whatever it is that you're working on and let them tell you. Let them do their job. Let them work. Okay. Dr. Donald Coleman, episode 155. He came, so his program is meant to be an accelerated program. It's geared towards practitioners. And he got to the point where you're supposed to be kind of defending your proposal, but he didn't really have any words on the page. And he was looking to his advisor, who, by the way, is very brilliant. If you know who she is, she's brilliant. She's a big name in the field. But when it comes to like administrative things, it's just not her strength. No shade, like we all got our strengths and that's not it. And so he was looking for a little bit more like not encouragement, but like clear instructions on like, what did I do? How do I do this? And for a variety of reasons, pandemic, a shitload of a load of advisees, she just wasn't in the best position to give it to it and give him feedback in the way that he needed. And so he thought he was just not going to make it. So he signs up for the program and I'm like, listen, this is the plan. This is what we're going to do. But he gets to about February and now he's able to have consistent communication with his advisor. She's telling him like, okay, all you need to do is X, Y, Z, and then we can schedule a date. But he was afraid to believe her. He kept trying to sit by himself and being like, but maybe I need to do this, but I know this part is still missing. And I know I could give this to an editor. And I had to say to him, like I'm saying to you, let your advisor do their job. And a part of doing their job is if they say, let's schedule a date, you know what your job is? Schedule the date. Your job is not to tell them, but I'm missing this. And what about this? Let them do their job. So he let his chair do her job and he became a whole doctor in March. And so I'm using him as an example for you to let your chair do their job. You don't do their job. Your job is to put words on the page. Your job is to tell you if this meets the expectations and if you can move forward. Be like Dr. Coleman. Let your chair do their job. Okay, I want to check in again. How are you feeling right now? Give me one word. How are you feeling during this conversation so far? And I really do appreciate y'all chatting it up with me in the comments because it helps me, y'all. Like it's Black church over here. I need the whole call and response. So tell me in one word how you're feeling and I will come back. So we're making our way through these tips. And now we're getting to my favorite. They're my favorite because they are the ones that people, they think about it, but they're like, I don't need that. I just need to know exactly what to do. I need to organize my time, which is why I started with the themes in the beginning that I started with. But this one, find community. Yeah, I am the introvert's introvert, okay? I just spent 5 days by myself in a hotel room. Don't feel no way about it. I just needed to be by myself. Like I love being by myself. And the biggest reason why I was able to finish my dissertation in that 2 months was because I had people around me. Even when I didn't want the people around me, they would come to my door because I lived on campus. And because we work for housing, you can get into anybody's room and house. And they would come in and be like, we're going to write. And I just thought they were rude, but I loved them for it because I wouldn't have done it on my own. But we need people as humans. We need people. We are not meant to do life alone, including a dissertation. And what people do for us as humans is that they serve as mirrors for us. They reflect back to us who we are and how we're showing up in the world, right? We have one way in our minds how we think we are, how we think we're showing up, but the people around us will tell us very clearly who we really are. And we show up in the same way that the people around us are showing up. Like, have you ever heard of that thing of like, you are the sum of the 5 people you're around the most? That includes people on social media. So if there are influencers or accounts or people that you listen to, their podcasts, if you're listening to them more than you talk to your homegirl, then that person is in the circle of the 5 people. And so I just want you to think about right now, especially when it comes to your dissertation or your doc program, who are the people that you are around the most? What are their qualities? How do they show up to writing? How are they reviewed, or not reviewed, but how are they seen in the program by other people, like their reputation, right? How do they plan their week if they plan their week? What's their general attitude? What is their general approach to life? And whatever came to mind, I want you to know, friend, that that's how you're showing up more. Like 9 times out of 10 is who you are too, because we are the sum of the 5 people we hang out or we consume the most. So if they show up and they do right, but they spend their writing time just talking shit all day, guess what you're doing? Talking shit right along with them. Whether if they come, I remember there was a different group of people I wanted to start writing with, and we met at this coffee shop and we sat down and we spent like maybe the first 5 minutes just like talking, like, small talk, what's going on. And then all of a sudden a switch went off and everybody was writing headphones on. And I'm someone, because of how my brain works, it's like random stuff comes up and I want to start talking. And I tried that with one of the people and they gave me this look and I was like, oh no, we are writing. I see now. This is not the group that you come and BS around. This is a group you come to write. And that really showed me the power of, if you really want to sit down and write, if you really want people to like support you in the way that you want to, then you're going to have to make some decisions, probably some hard decisions about who you decide to write with and who you don't. We have people and they don't need to be all things to us all the time. You got some people who sometimes you do want to go to a writing group and just talk shit, but sometimes you want to go to a writing group and you want to get words on the page. You don't want to do any talking. And you know who does what. You know who shows up and how they show up. And you got to be willing to make that decision. But either way, you cannot do this by yourself. You're going to need to do it with some people. I just want you to be very clear about who those people are. So if you want to like I don't have a group, I don't know this writing group, but I do have a couple of homegirls that I do want to write with, then I'm going to encourage you to build your own community and start a writing group. But we're gonna let it be simple because some of y'all be doing too much. Let it be simple. Just meet once a week for about an hour. And during that hour, say the 2 or 3 of you come together and just say, this is what I'm working on for the week. You're gonna bring something for everybody else to look at and give you feedback on or to be able to talk through. And then you're gonna stick to that schedule week after week as much as possible. Now, life happens, things come up, and you may have to reschedule or cancel for the week, but at least the 2 to 3 of you, and I encourage you not to have more than like 3 to 4 people because then that's how you get into a whole other world, but at least encourage the 3 of you to stick to that schedule as much as possible and to let it be just about the writing. Now, if you want to have a group because you just need somebody to talk to, right, then be clear about that's what the purpose of the group is. But where I see people who get into hot water when they want to have their own or organize their own writing group is they're trying to make it serve too many initiatives. And then whoever brought the group together ends up burning out because now you're trying to be a student who's writing and you're also trying to be an administrator bringing groups together. And that's just a lot of work, even if you're like, but it's just once a week. Y'all, it's a lot of work. And so I'm saying Let it be simple, once a week. And the goal is to come to the group with something for everyone to talk through that'll keep you accountable. It'll give you some feedback before you turn it in to your advisor, and it'll help you feel more confident about your writing. And she's on this call, which is, it might be funny for her. So Dr. Cat Stevens, episode 163, it just came out. It was so good, y'all. She came to the group, Finish Your Dissertation, October 2021. And if y'all know Kat, I said this on an episode, she has community. This wasn't the issue of does she have people around her. But what I would say as a coach, it's like, does she have the people who will help her in this particular part of her world? Like someone who could see her as a student and be like, hey, let's go write, or like, hey, I get it, let's go do this. And so she came to the literature review workshop, which you can sign up for if you're like, how do I write my literature review in 30 days? She came to the workshop, and I would say, and what she talked about in the episode was feeling very supported and seen by the community, which helped her to, I would say, let her guard down, is to like feel a little bit more relaxed and safe. So that when I said, okay, we're going to actually put words on the page during this workshop, she was able to write a shitty paragraph. She was able to put words on the page. Y'all, in about 4 days, not to make her nervous, she will be doctor. It's done. It's already done. She will be doctor on July 8th, 2022. And she's in the chat. So if you want to talk to her, she's there. But it first started with community. It first started with being around people who were like, hey, I could talk shit with you. And I can be like, girl, you better sit down and write. She was in a community of people who were like, let's go into the Zoom room. We're going to keep our cameras on. I'm going to write. And so she could look at them writing and be like, oh, I can write too. It's about being in a community of people being like, okay, y'all, I can't find this. Can y'all help me find it? Okay, here you go. It's about, listen, I need to talk shit about my chair for a minute. I love him to death, but he 2 steps away from getting these hands. You need community who's like, listen, tell us all the things. We here. Who is your community? Who are the people who are mirroring back to you about how you want to be in this process and how you want to show up? And then this is my favorite one. Decide who you be. And I know you're like, that's not how you say that. Yes, it is. Who do you want to be now? Who do you want to be in the future? Because here's the thing, you cannot outwork a shitty mindset. Like you cannot out hustle your way. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know who you want to be, if you don't know why you're doing this, it does not matter how much work you put in. It does not matter how many hours you sit down in front of your computer. It does not matter how many meetings you take, how many articles you read. If you don't believe you can do this, then you're not going to do it. It comes down to that. Work got you here, right? You don't get to a doc program without having a work ethic. But I'm pretty sure y'all all know by this point that work is not going to get you to the finish line. Hustling does not work at this stage because this stage is not about hustling. This stage is about owning your identity as a doctor. It is about showing up in that energy already. Because when you show up and you decide, bitch, I'm already doctor, your energy is different. How you come to your writing sessions is different. How you talk to your chair is different. How they talk back to you is different. How you advocate for yourself with your committee and whomever else who want to try to give you smoke. You like, yes, I want all the smoke. Give it to me because I know who I am and I know what I came to do. So me asking you at the beginning of this of like, why are you doing this? It's important because if you know that you're doing this because you want to stunt, you're going to stunt throughout this whole process because you got to practice. Right? Shit talking just don't start. You practice that. Right? If you're doing this because you want a particular job, right? Like you prepare for that job, right? You start getting experiences. Maybe you serve on an extra committee. In the same way you start doing that, you got to practice being that leader now. You got to practice being that person in that role now. You have to decide who you want to be. There's no one coming to tell you, oh, you should be like this. Oh, you should. They might. But this is how you get yourself in a situation where you start doing a lot of shit that you don't want to do. That's not even your idea. And you start working for other people's dreams and wallets. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do in this world? How do you want to show up? Decide that you could do that right now because you can. It's available. Do it right now. Show up as that person right now. At the very least, I know you want to finish a dissertation. Decide it's finished. Not, I hope I finish. I hope I get there. No, decide it's finished. And my only job is to get to the day because it's already done. And so if that means I got to show up and I got to put words on the page, and then my advisor comes back and they say, could you change this word to this? Yep, no problem. Why? Because I want to be done and I decided I'm done. I'm not about to argue with you as to why like it should be a it instead of a them. It doesn't matter. You want it? Sounds good. I'll change it. Right? If you just want to be done, whatever whatever that chair tells you to do, you would do it. Like, oh, I think you should talk about this. Sounds good. I'm going to add it in. Now, am I saying don't push back? No, but I'm saying 90% of stuff, it ain't worth your energy to argue about. It's like, yep, oh, okay, that's going to get you to turn it in. Sounds good. Show up. Decide who you're going to be and show up as that person. Dr. Rashonda Breeden, episode 123, in May, she is that person that I look at. I'm like, one day I'm gonna be like you. One day I'm gonna be like you. And I would describe it as she did everything right. She did everything the way she was supposed to. She followed the program's timeline. She did everything when they told her she should do it. She was and is that model student and now faculty member. That's how you should show up. But when it came to May, she was tired. She had successfully defended, I think, her exams maybe like March or April, and was tired. And know that like, okay, the clock has started when I'm supposed to finish this dissertation, but I'm tired. And I did what they were supposed to do. And why do I still like what I was supposed to do? And why do I still feel tired? And so I told her, you could take a break. And give her like May, June. And I even tried to push it like July to like, don't do anything related to this dissertation. She fought me a little bit. I think she started in July, but I legit was like, take a break. And during that break, what we did is decide, like, who do you want to be, Dr. Breeden? Because I call everyone doctor when it comes to the program. Like, who do you want to be? How do you want this dissertation process to be for you? And a lot of you don't even know that you have a choice of how your dissertation process could be. A lot of you think you just have to do it like how everybody else is doing it, miserable and sad, but you don't. And so I asked her, how do you want this to be? And she said, I want this to be chill. I want to spend more time baking. I want to watch Grey's Anatomy because I never watched it before. And I want to have dope co-researchers because she did a participatory action research project. And I want to make real change in the community that I'm working with. And I was like, well, let's go to work. Y'all, she did all of that and more. If you were following her on Instagram, I feel like every other day she was making up a different recipe and she was just going through all the seasons. And I will tell you, since April 2021, she has been collecting Dissertation of the Year awards like Affinity Stones. And I bring this to say, your dissertation doesn't have to require you hustling and working all day and all night. That you get to have a life. She went on trips. Her and her husband were like taking like trips to the beach. She was going to conferences. She was doing things. That the dissertation doesn't have to rob you of your life, but you have to decide, like, how do you want it to be? Who do you want to be? And believe that it's possible. Was she scared? Yes. When I told her to take a break, she was absolutely sure that she was not going to meet the deadline that the program had for her. When I told her, like, you can have all of that, she was like, I don't believe you, but she was willing to try. But she decided, like, it could be possible for me. And she went all in. And I believe it's 3 or 4 Dissertation of the Year awards. It's a beautiful dissertation. And even for those of you who want to win an award, you can, but it does not require you to hustle. Hustle is optional. You have to decide who you will be, how you will show up. So who do you want to be in one word? See mine is work, y'all, already. Who do you want to be in this process? Tell me in one word. So I went through the 10 tips and I gave you things. And if you follow that, you got it. But if you like, okay, girl, but you mentioned this Finish Your Dissertation program and I want to know more. So I'm going to tell you more. Finish Your Dissertation is a program that I've had about 3 years at this point. And the whole goal is for you to finish your dissertation in 12 months or less. And I really do mean or less. And we don't do this with hustling. Most doctoral students struggle to write. Most of you think, oh, I need a plan, I need better time management, or I need more accountability. But when it's all said and done and we peel back the layers, it's really coming down to struggling to write. In FYD, what we do is help you get words on the page so you can become a doctor in the next 12 months or less. Here are all the reasons I just went through. I just spent the past hour talking about. Here's why you're struggling to finish, right? One, you haven't decided, like I talked a lot about. You don't have a clear plan on how you will finish, when you will finish. When I say clear plan, like you probably got together with all your highlighters and your stickers and your planners, and you made a timeline, but was it doable? Do you believe it's possible? That's a whole other conversation, right? A challenge like to put words on the page, or because you feel like maybe I'll have enough time, or I don't know enough, right? Or my writing is not good enough. I'm afraid to get feedback. I haven't talked to my chair in months. Maybe you're like me. I don't know how you dog sit for your chair and still run away from her when you're like trying to finish a dissertation, but that's a whole different thing, right? Maybe you feel alone in your program. You no longer know why you're doing this, but you're just thinking you're missing something that everybody else seems to know. Are like the common reasons that I hear from folks. And so I'm saying that you have the opportunity for all of that to end today. You don't have to stare at page after page of track changes, being like, what do I do with this? I feel overwhelmed. There's just so much red and purple, whatever color they decided to use. Right? No more wasting hours and hours of reading articles or notes or trying to find that old paper from that class 2 years ago to try to write that one sentence. And no more working with a chair who just doesn't understand what it is that you're trying to do or you're trying to say, or what's the purpose of your research again? And is that a real research topic? No more of that. So I created this program because it's what I needed. When I told you about those 2 months, and then really the 2.5, because I was over here floating, child. Before that email came and she said, you got 2 months, I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so confused. I created the program I needed at that moment. And yeah, you might be like, but you finished though. You finished in those 2 months. And I want you to know it cost me so much. I'm going to tell you how I looked at the end of my program. Because if you go back into pictures, you will see it was as if in like 3 or 4 months, I gained 60 pounds. I could not sleep at night to save my life, to literally save my life. My menstruation cycle was non existent. I could not hold down food. I had stomach pains. I was on 2 to 3 like antidepressants, sleep medication. And I'm not demonizing medicine. I'm saying I was trying to figure out a way to sleep because I could not sleep and I could not regulate my nervous system on my own. And I was desperate to try anything. Y'all, I had no money. I had nothing. Yes, I got to the finish line, but it was at a large cost. And I don't want you to have to do what I did. I want you to be doctor feeling healthy, happy, and whole. I've helped so many students do the same, and I know it's possible. So when you sign up for the program, what you will see immediately is a thank you screen of being like, welcome to the program, so happy to have you. And you get immediate access to all the videos, the training, the courses, the entire program. You will then be directed to completing a dissertation audit, which is just a questionnaire that just asks you like, how you doing? How you really doing? What's writing looking like for you? How is your relationship with your chair? Tell me what you can about your dissertation. Tell me what would be the most helpful for you. And what I do is use that information to prepare for our welcome call. You will get on a call with me, and for 30 to 60 minutes, depending on how things go, I will talk to you about what's been going on. We will create a plan together of how do you get from this point to a finished dissertation. And you will leave that call knowing exactly what you will do and how to do it. After that, right, you go back and I encourage you to look at the curriculum. So this is the orientation curriculum. It takes less than an hour to get through. I just redid it because I wanted to make it even faster. But I walk you through everything you need to know for a finished dissertation. I walk you through the process of how to write. I walk you through the process of planning. I talk to you about how you get support in the program. I walk you through everything you need to know. And then you can go into all of the videos. I don't even know, I should probably have a number, but there are countless videos for each part of the dissertation, for each chapter. And I'm always adding to it. So since you're on this YouTube channel, you see me adding videos that goes in there too, but there's a whole vault of videos that are not even on the YouTube channel that helps you with every part of the dissertation. We have the dopest community around. I would be willing to, fight anybody who said they got a better community. They don't. A community of scholars of color, people who look like you, talk like you, come from where you come from, ready to talk to you, support you, help you in any way possible. We have Facebook and we meet once a week, which would be more than once a week once we come back for fall. But in the fall, we'll be meeting twice a week, Sunday and Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. And even if you don't come to write, because you'll see a lot of people cooking and doing laundry, the point of these calls is to get community, to get your questions answered, to get some support when you need it. When you want to be like, why is my chair acting like this? We will figure it out. But there are also people who use this time strictly for writing. They go into a private breakout room and they are writing. I think about like FID student Devin. Every time she comes to right away, she just goes to the breakout room and she's been writing and she's been turning things in. So I know she's been writing. But this is your time to use in whichever way you think is going to help you. Because right now, as how the current program is set up in terms of your academic program, where is your space where you get to go and you get to talk about, well, what are my next steps to my dissertation, and then switch to my chair is getting on my nerves to I feel like I can't do this. Like without having to segment your life, without having to compartmentalize, where's your place to just be a whole ass person? This is your place. And then you get unlimited feedback from me. Folks submit their feedback and follow the process I just shared with you for the past hour. Is like I encourage you to submit it in 2-page chunks. But there are people who submit whole chapters. Just know that it takes me a little bit longer. But I look at everything and I give you feedback. And you could do that as many times as you need to. So, an overview of the program, a curriculum for putting words on a page. It takes you less than 60 minutes. Private planning session with me with options to add on more if you want to. Weekly community and writing time, unlimited writing feedback, and so much more, because there's always something that somebody is like, I need help with, and me, the good teacher that I am, I'm like, here's a training, let's do it. So it's very flexible. So you can either pay one payment of $2,500 or a 10-month payment plan of $250. And you can go to qualscholars.com to sign up. And I want to finish this conversation off before getting to questions with talking about Dr. Natasha Winston. It was episode 130, but I need her to have her own solo episode. Everything that could have went wrong, y'all, in the process went wrong. I'm talking about being removed from a program, being fired from a job, trying to figure out like, what am I going to do? Advocating for yourself to get back into a program, start a new program, get a new chair unfortunately passing away, showing up and getting another chair, writing, advocating, taking hard steps, crying, doing all the things. And she is a whole ass doctor. So when I say everything that could have went wrong, that went wrong, it went wrong. And she still made it to the other side. And I would argue in record time, considering everything. And this was all in a pandemic. It was all in a pandemic. And what she will tell you, if you go interact with her in person or on Instagram streets, is that she finished happy, healthy, and whole. And that is the invitation that I am extending to you, is to finish happy, healthy, and whole. So thank you for your time and attention. I want to see if there are any questions or anything. So if you have questions or you have thoughts, let me know in the chat and I can read them. I'm just going up to see what folks are saying. Kat is saying chill. Alicia is hopeful. Clea's excited. And yeah, Kat, that was you. Gabby is saying you need to embrace the feeling and accept all changes. And I love Gabby's picture every time. I'm like, it's just such a beautiful picture. But yes, like, accept whatever the people say. Just do what they tell you to do. Like, we don't need to fight. We don't need to do these arguments. I want you to save your good time and energy for after the dissertation, after you become doctor, because that's when the work begins, y'all. That's when you put your stamp on the world. The dissertation does not have to rob you of your life. It does not. It does not have to rob you. Because a lot of you too still have goals of becoming a tenure track or teaching faculty or a clinical faculty. That starts immediately after you're done with this process. You need to have left over. And then just what about living? What about going on all those trips that you've been planning in your head while you were writing your dissertation? What family events that you miss? You still need energy to be able to do that. On the dissertation, you don't have to miss those things. You don't have to sacrifice those things. It doesn't require that. So, any questions or anything, y'all? I'm trying to think of normally what folks would say. When do you have to decide by? So the program will be closing, like I will be closing the doors at 11:59 p.m. I would give you Pacific time, but 11:59 p.m. on this Friday. Doors are closing because on Saturday and Sunday, we're having a live event for current students in the Finish Your Dissertation program where we're going to be planning for the next academic year. We're going to be talking about job searching while doing the dissertation, starting your business while doing the dissertation, and being very clear on what are my next steps to finish this dissertation so I can go do all these things. We're going to be spending 2 whole days doing that. And we want to make sure that the students who are in the program are in the program and we can prepare for that. So by the end of the day, Friday, 11:59 Pacific time, the doors will be closed and they will not reopen until October. That's a long time, I know. But they won't open until October. Not in this way. So I want y'all to get in. If you're on the fence and you're like, I don't know, get in. Do you offer payment plans? Yes, you can either do one lump sum of $2,500 or you can break it out over 10 months at $250. The payment will come out on the same day every month, and that date is based on when you signed up. So if you sign up today on July 4th, your next payment will come out on August 4th, and so on and so forth. Do you offer scholarships? Nope, not at this time, but we are working on something of that nature to roll out for next year. If you're like, I don't know if I can afford it, listen, I want you to consider what is the cost of you not signing up? What is it costing you? How many hours? How many more semesters? Because a lot of you are paying tuition for semesters and hours that you are not even using, that you're not even writing. And that's not shade. And you might think, but yeah, my job or my assistantship pays for it. But you're paying for it too, friend, and time and energy somewhere. And you have to decide, what is your time and energy worth to you? What is your life on hold until you finish your dissertation? What is that worth to you? And is the $250 a month worth you being done? And if you honestly believe that it was possible for you to be done, what is that worth to you? What else? Other people will ask, do you offer more one-on-one sessions? I do. That's at a different investment, but at the minimum, you do get that private one-on-one session first join, and you get to see this face every week. I am available. I coach people all the time, and I talk to people through things all the time. That's why we have the weekly calls. That's why I'm showing up. You can ask people in the program. They're in the chat box right now. A lot of times I'm going to them being like, what's up? I said it to say that it's not so overwhelming that you wouldn't be able to ask me your question directly. No, I am available. And I'm trying to think if there are any more questions that I normally get. And is this for me? I'm going to be doing a call this following Thursday on I think it's 3 p.m. Central, so 4 p.m. Eastern. I need to double check that, but it's on the channel where I'll be talking directly more just all questions. Is this right for me? And so if you're like, I have a special situation, I don't know if this is right for me, then I'm going to encourage you to attend that call. But if there is nothing else and I don't see anything else, I just want to say Thank y'all so much for your time and attention. And I really enjoyed this conversation. It went by way faster than I thought it would. But I hope that however you're choosing to spend this day, that it is one of peace for you, of restoration. Drink your water, mind your business. And I will see y'all on Thursday. And for FYD students, I'll see y'all on Wednesday. And that is going to do it. Bye, y'all.